compromise, and now the chance is mine to take it. Tell me, who left you all alone? Who left you all alone, babe? Who made the big mistake? Who's sleeping on my bed?
Like a baby girl so I can raise them on stress. I'm fondest of prospects to father some daughters, raising some bosses. Honest, Conrad and August got ladies who got this, highlighting the losses, fighting for causes, get girls some profits, show you what class is. Honest, Conrad and August got ladies who got this.
Look, it's Conrad and August got ladies who got this. Yeah.
One thing is certain, it's gonna be crazy, yo.
Conversational radio TV.
You know what it is.
Just different.
Hey.
Hey, good people. Bona ngwaneso. It's a Friday, and why it's man Friday brings you that vibe. It brings you that vibe where you chill with good people, good friends, have good conversations and conversations that are meaningful, but at the same time not very boring, because you know that South Africa is a country of excitement. There's never a dull moment in South Africa. There's never a dull moment when you're with me, Tato Molamo, the sexiest man alive. No, I just had to throw that in there. I just really had to throw that in there. Having been to the gym for 6 months, Dooms, I'm not feeling so confident about myself. So I gotta just like wake up, get a sexy boy. Oh, sexy Ntwana. No. Think about it, because if you don't do it, self-affirmation is very important. You know, it helps you wake up, have that walk, man. Don't let that bounce in that walk, you know. How about one of us at we're now busy because the feet, by the way. So I've only got like 2 pants that fit. It's been tough.
Herbalife.
No, it's been tough.
Herbalife.
No, Herbalife, I'm not sure whether it will. Herbalife, man.
Ask me how.
Hey, man, do you believe you've got the secret?
Ask me how.
No. I think that today we might actually have some interesting conversations about Ask Me How and something called What the Clicks. What the Clicks. It's something that we're gonna jump into because at least Toba chelete, Toba consciousness, Toba, you know, verbatim words. Which is turansele. Sidutse ka motafoleng ka mona. Naki ka mona fela ngwanola wa tsena go DP khotleng sekolo sena sa go Kasira ko Maftown. But I want to introduce our guests. Bona, they're not strangers to the show. We've got Miss Lucretia Mate on my left. And we've got Tuck Shop Executive on my right in Tate Tumelo Chaka. Unchebile tlasadi bre like it's able horeng kumpieno ili hip hop star. Are Chaka, yo dog, yo man. We don't know, Joe. Why are you hiding your eyes? I mean,
oh, man, I've watched you for years. I'm like, let me know how it is to be a celeb. Bro.
Yeah,
Just have shades in J. You know, to be DJ Mama.
Oh, to be DJ Tech Shop executive.
Wow, just come and just in J.
Okay.
You know, behind
kind
closed doors, always.
Are you always kind?
I try.
Are people always kind?
No.
Lou, are people always kind?
Inherently, yes.
Inherently.
Yes.
Ah,
I'd like
okay.
to believe.
Lou is highly generous. They're not.
No, she is.
They're not. But it's fine.
No, but that's why she's going to be one of the most successful women in the continent. It's because of kindness breeds blessings.
Amen.
You know. Bare kopo tla fiwa, e fa o tla fiwa.
Hola.
Yes. How you doing? How was your week, Lou?
My week was great,
Yeah?
actually. Very involved. After last week's discussions,
Okay.
I became an overnight celebrity. I was like, what's going on? What's
Cheers,
popping? What's popping? No, but it was a great week. I think there's a journey I'm going through
Okay.
in the self-discovery space, and I'm really, really liking myself. So you speak about how you look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl. That's
Mara
what I'm
braga
doing.
ya chesa. Like
Eh,
she's
no,
hot, she's
no,
hot,
he's
she's
properly
hot.
popping. I can
Kibo,
see it.
no, get your
Yeah.
braga ya chesa.
Yeah.
In case
No.
you don't know, kibo ka Lou. ne?
No.
Braga get
That's why. No. Humble. Or try to.
Yeah, or try to deviate.
No,
Lou,
it's
you're
going to
very
her.
beautiful.
It's going to her.
Yeah, no, tumelo. Yeah, reward. Celebrating you,
Lady Lou.
African woman. And
Okay.
again, heritage man. Happy I know now. What is a women's man and not celebrate the beauty of Africa?
Hey.
Moneso.
You know what I mean.
Mwaneso.
You know what I mean.
All right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Celebrate the women and celebrate Africa.
Beautiful.
I mean, when you look at it, it's the two underdogs of the world, isn't it?
Absolutely.
The women are the underdogs,
Yeah.
and Africa is seen as the underdog.
Yes.
And it really isn't, because it is the dynamite. And
No,
it's
for
about
sure.
time we
It's about to
recognize it.
explode.
It's about to explode.
It's about to get lit, as the
Yeah.
young people will say it.
yeah.
Doomza, how was your week, my brother? What did you get up to? What's been happening?
Sure. The last month has been rough, so the week has been rough as well.
Were you doing push-ups? What?
No.
What happened?
Sure, I'm trying to get back into mainstream life. You know,
Yeah.
like I said to you, having lost my father a month ago,
Yeah.
lost a best friend on Monday. It's
Lepara. Lepara
it's
lezai.
dog,
Lezai.
and
yeah.
the person I lost on Monday, I was having lunch with her on Tuesday last week. So it's been a roller coaster. But for me, my firm belief is that life, I've had my good times, so now I'm going through my rough patches.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'll take them as they come. I think you know the lady. She was at Gibbs, Doreen, Dr. Doreen. Awesome human being. She finished last year. I mean, like really dynamic human being. She passed on Monday. Her soul rest in peace. We lost out.
Yeah.
The country lost out from to having a dynamic person in the medical field. She's been very dynamic during COVID times, but she even helped my dad while my dad was sick. Moving from Kwatkwat to here with my parents, she helped them to get beds in hospitals. So dynamic person, but it's been my week, but I'm taking it as it comes, man. You know.
Thank you for coming here, my brother. Thank you for being here with us.
You know, you like Tumami. If you call, you can't say no.
Cannot say no.
You can't say no.
Cannot say no.
You can't say no.
So for the purposes, obviously, of the show, it's always important just to introduce ourselves. You know, we have new, obviously, listeners. Kamola. We've got Karen. By the way, guys, I'm doing... you also registered Steps.
Yes.
So she's the founder of Steps Foundation.
Oh, nice.
It's a foundation based in Cape Town. They help kids around the country that have clubfoot.
Okay.
To help them if you're born with clubfoot.
What must we do? Because now I don't know. She knows, so now I don't know. What
call
must
to
we do?
action?
Yeah.
The call to action. I'm going to send you guys the link to register.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to walk 6,000 steps next week.
Okay.
And as I've just said, Pratu, like right, I haven't been to gym for some time.
Yeah.
So this is my first exercise.
Is it next week or even? Because
Next
now
week.
Sunday I'm working 10,000. So she must just tell us.
Are you working 10,000?
Sunday
So
10,000.
it's the 19th, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
the 19th. So,
That's fine.
Lou, are you joining us?
No, I'm on. I mean, 6,000 is like what? case.
Around the block.
6 who?
Around the block.
Did you
10,000.
say 6 rand?
10,000.
I mean, no, on says that.
All
So
right.
it obviously it happens throughout the day, right? So it's an accumulative.
Yeah, so you
steps,
can just
it's not a
register.
one
Yeah,
shot.
so you so you can walk wherever you
Right.
are. So but the point is that we're trying to raise 100,000 rands.
Okay.
But it's a start, man. It's
Cool.
a start. Me and doing good. It's like, rehi.
So we do the 6,000 steps. The other call to action, baton.
The other call to action.
Want the money? Tell her the
Okay,
money.
okay, wait,
The workings for health.
On the
We want the man.
website, yeah, steps. There's also donate page, so you can also donate.
Yeah.
When you've got that, that money.
No, guys, you can walk for your health.
Yes.
We want your money.
So
Yes,
We want your
absolutely.
money.
I mean, while we are on the money subject in the donation, right?
Yeah.
Let's refer back to wise men. Did you see what we did as a country for wise men? You don't. Okay, so a guy goes on into a garage, BP garage, and he asks this poor wise man to pour petrol. Then he says, "Ngicela 210." So when I say 210, because you haven't seen the whole story, when I say 210, how much are you gonna pour?
210.
My guy. So this guy, so wise man Yabantu pours the 210.
Yeah.
We all good. Comes around to fetch the 210. How my guy gives him 20 rand, 210 rands. Nine. 210 rands.
210.
So Yazi, and you can see the agony on wise man's face. So he's very confused. So he looks at the man, he looks at the guy, and he's like,
I'm vet.
I'm fair too. So, and then the guy is like, how, 210. So wise man is like, oh, okay. And he's so humble. And I think that's what touched me. It's the humility in this man, even as he is being cornered to agree onto something that universally we would never agree to.
Now, to put 210 rand
Baton.
and 4 cents. I just garage.
And why not you share those extra 4 cents? You know what I mean?
4 cents, yeah.
Nix.
Yeah,
So how much did you, so eventually the conversation, the dialogue happens. You can see the agony in Wise Man's face, and then eventually he says, "Kantonu tell him Aline." Wise Man is like 210. He's like, Joe. So, and we are all just like, maybe this is a joke. People are throwing in on Twitter, maybe this is a joke, this didn't happen. Find out that my guy was serious.
210.
210. So, 20 rand.
240.
This is what I'm saying about South Africa.
Yeah.
So right there and there, this is me individually. I decide. In fact, I want to show this guy, Uguti, he's nothing.
Yeah.
So I then say to Dumi, when you do find this guy, please let us know. More than happy to contribute.
Yeah.
I am planning in my head that I will give Wise Man 210 rand in case he had to pay all that money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, it's not just me. South Africa pours in with their 210 rands. I mean, Mohale, Sumizi's Mohale, I think paid 500 or 1,000. I saw a guy yesterday paid 2,000 rand. But even better, your guys come through because he banks with you guys. He comes through, they're like, listen, whatever he gets, we will double it. So as we sit today, wise men can build a house for his family.
Amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
The moral of the story.
The devil is a liar.
The country will support any initiative that is for the good
Devil is a
of
liar.
building South Africa. So
Yeah.
I'm absolutely happy that you shared. I actually didn't know the story, wise man.
No, man.
There's so many things that are happening in this country. Hey, there's so many things.
Mind you, till now we are still hanging on clicks. When now you're hanging on, now I'm like,
No. We
nothing like, hey,
we are on
EFF,
good
hey,
deeds.
shut
No, we're
down
in
the
good
doors.
No, it
No,
was
no, that's
me.
good.
It
That's
touched
good.
my
That's
heart.
good. I just want to say hi to our people here. We've got Butternut 29, we've got Offense Palos, we've got Iteboche, we've got Veleselola, we've got Keke, we've got Karen, we've got a lot of people that have joined in to the show today. We want to say thank you for joining in. These are very, very special people that we have here today. Not only special to the country, to the economy, but just in to my heart. No, it's true.
He wants loans.
It's a true story.
He wants loans.
I want investments.
He wants loans.
We want investment.
But that's it, man.
Oh, Batla facilities.
That's it,
Yeah,
man.
maybe relief funding. All right, cool. So before we get into the conversation, there are two games, right? Just nyananje, just to bring the vibe. One is him a song. Right now, there's a song that I've been asked here for you guys to hymn. I'm just not sure, how your music library itself looks.
Now I must confess. I was told
Confessions
upfront,
are Asha.
go to in the choir, you won't make it. We saw you playing rugby. We think if you focused more on that, you'll do good. So I know. Upfront, go to handicap.
Okay. Look.
Hey. I was told strictly, you know how to study. Keep doing that. Stick to your books because this music business is not going to work for you. So.
All right, guys. I hope you are ready. We're about to ask them to hymn a song. The song has just come through. It's called You Rock My World by Michael Jackson.
Isn't that one?
We waiting. Go. We went to
this is exposure. I have no idea. The rest of it, I just remember it says.
That song's it's actually on my phone.
Okay. Am I allowed to give them a clue? Can I?
Yeah, please.
I only remember the choir. Look at that. Please show the world yourself as you are dancing. Yes, and a voice.
When yes! You rock my world. TD4855. I hope you enjoyed that. Steady PH. Let's have again. Oh man. Okay, but I'm sure this one you probably will get it right. Describe this without saying the word. Just like 30 seconds. So this one I'm going to give it to you guys as the professionals. By the way, this is Gibbs alumni. So let's go one MBA. Embrace.
Bantu MBA. For me, Bantu. I think you do MBA and PhD.
Yeah.
She's.
Oh yes. No. He did it. Yes, he did Bantu MBA.
Bantu MBA.
No, so he did the MBA, but remember the MBA prior to
was NQ level 9.
1994.
Yeah, was level 9. Not level 10. 2 in 1. 2 in 1. When I was Bantu. S for strategy. TRATEGY. Say strategy.
We went to the strategy.
No.
Strategy.
No.
We graduated twice. Thank you very much.
No. But
yeah.
Tato, Lou did grand strategy.
Grand strategy. Yes.
Right.
No.
Strategy.
Can we announce that we Shapile? Was it cum laude?
Yeah.
You see?
Cum laude.
You see? When I was national certificate. Who to troopers.
It was
school living.
Oh my God, this guy.
School living.
Let me tell you how I met Chaka. I actually met Chaka in our human behavior class because he was the model of human behavior. He was actually called by Gibbs to come and
it's fun.
You know what? It doesn't describe the word. That's the one we must describe.
Expose.
It's her number high. Nix.
Okay.
And I was like, I want to be that guy when I grow up. Here I am.
Sure.
There you are.
I remember that year. Dude, that year I remember. I don't know if it was your class, but there was a class where a guy offered to wash someone else's feet.
It was our class. It
Sure.
was our graduation.
Feet, dude.
Yes.
For what?
Hey, dude, for saying sorry for apartheid times.
What?
A white person offered to wash a black person's feet to say we are sorry.
No, but we had so much drama.
Yeah.
So those were like efforts to try and reconcile the pain and the
And there was there as a guest lecturer saying, Ivan, bring the Vascom, let's wash.
So one day you need to tell Tato about the story you told in that class. That's when I was like,
You know
actually,
what, you
this
must
guy
actually
and
tell
I.
it. What did the story? Ne?
Oh,
Okay.
Timothy
No,
spoke
no.
about
story.
Okay,
No.
so yes, I
No,
go.
before we answer,
Yeah.
I want you guys just to describe.
Okay.
Describe the word. Describe a word. Without saying the word. So I'm gonna describe it.
Yeah.
I hope. 'Cause, cum laude, come on.
Yeah, cum laude.
BA.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bantu,
guest
but-
lecture.
but-
Come on.
Human behavior.
Human behavior
That's
guest lecture.
cool.
All right, I'm gonna try this thing. I'm gonna try it. I hope I get it right.
That looks like water.
Ocean.
Ocean.
Water.
Yeah.
It's water.
Water.
Okay.
Come on, go so.
Yes.
No, thank you, Zina. No, we got it right. We got it right. Ke boditse batho ba ba tsene sekolo. Ha ira fela na, they're like, "I wanna gana snake." They're like, "Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much." No, man, it's been great. But for the purpose of the conversation of what the clicks, because I think it would be great to get your views, because I think you are well versed when it comes to issues of the country, understanding the township economy, the township challenges, the challenges of a black person in this country. Yet we still repeat the same things. There's no accountability for people's actions. We cyberbully. Like from a leadership structure, what a big company like Clicks, how do you think they got that right?
When I saw the boardroom of the marketing executives or the team, the branding team, I just thought they were asking for the S word. It's as corporates, we take lightly our obligation to our consumers, and I think that becomes a big issue in terms of how we then communicate. Clicks for me took lightly who we are, and did not give attention to detail. That's one. Two, they gave Julius a massive opportunity. He's been quiet, it's been tough, it's been covered, there's no action. And Julius wasn't gonna let it go. But I think as corporates at large, we miss that point where everything is about what we want, what we think the consumer wants, than what the consumer wants. So there's no client conversation, which is what we're currently busy with at the Green Bank, is that we're expanding heavily in client conversations to understand or to meet the client where they're at. Clicks was saying to the client, meet us where we at, and they got burned.
What does that mean? I mean, it's 25 years later, Lou, for you, and being a black woman in this country, because of, it spoke to black women and their hair, and saying that if you're a black woman with your natural, beautiful African black hair, you're not good enough, until it's straight, you use a particular product, then we can then accept you into society as a beautiful woman. What's your view on that? I mean, also coming out of the She Is Proud campaign, talking even about the audiobook, what does that mean? Talking to the girl child. Because if this was my daughter looking at it and then she's thinking, that means I'm not beautiful. That's what literally Click just said to our young black daughters.
So I think there are levels to the pain inflicted, right? And the reason why I'm saying that, it's because you could have used two models who are of the same cultural background to represent what you want to represent. You purposely chose two models from two different cultural backgrounds to represent the same thing. So you essentially said, this is an apple, this is a banana, but an apple is better, right? So, and the reason why I'm saying there's levels to that, you could have, it would have still been equally bad had you showcased a black girl with an afro and called it whatever you called it, and then a black girl with straight hair. Listen, we would have still gone into a turmoil, because we have been trying for centuries to readjust and re-communicate and articulate the narrative around black people and black women in particular. But this then, it went to the extreme, where it actually said, no, not even the black girl with straight hair is better. We are actually going to take a Caucasian lady with straight hair or however way that hair is represented and do a comparison. And that's what I'm saying. First of all, the levels of comparison make absolutely no sense. You could have easily taken 2 black girls or 2 white girls and proceeded with your life. The second piece is around the fact that I think we as humanity, it's enough that we are represented incorrectly, misrepresented. And in this particular case, I think there's a community of practice. In fact, it's a client experience community of practice. There had been many dialogues and conversation in that group. It's a WhatsApp group around this. I was silent the whole time. Until I realized that actually even the dialogue is happening. It's a one-sided dialogue. So this is a community of practice with multicultural human beings that are represented on the group. But whenever it comes into racial conversations, there's almost a lineage towards us having a conversation with ourselves about ourselves. And I think there is a time and place for us to actually open the conversation much wider so that we can actually start interrogating what it actually means. So I then said to the group, listen, it's time that I actually represent the voice and I speak out against this. First of all, the labeling of my hair as damaged is an implicit labeling of me as damaged. When you then send the message to me that I am broken, I'm damaged, and a girl that looks very different to me is unbroken and undamaged, then you are actually labeling them as good and me as bad. Even further, Tato, when you actually analyze, if you go to Google, and maybe it has changed, if you say professional hair women, white women are represented.
It actually hasn't changed.
When you actually say unprofessional hair women, black hair with our dreadlocks is represented in that conversation.
Sure.
So what does that actually say? What message are we sending to our kids? What message am I giving to Didi, who tomorrow
Can you please Google it?
might want... No, seriously, I'll actually show you the clip.
Actually.
I see it.
No, she's right.
I'll actually show you the
I want to see it. It's sad.
Yes.
You know,
It's the
really
same as if you try to Google black professionals.
Correct.
Yeah.
You're going to struggle to find stock
Yes.
because of the algorithms, Hadi. They don't push us up. You
Yes.
know?
Sure.
We like bottom of the value chain.
Wow.
And I mean, I remember 2-3 years ago, there was a big case also on how AI technology itself is racist, even in how it's structured. You know, that's why I remember the when you search and then, you could find that a black person is structured as a baboon. You know, so that's how technology itself, we're saying that the guys that build that technology need to be diversified in culture.
Yes.
It can't just be a particular group that has different views about Indian people, about black people, because now how then are you going to be objective when it comes to driving solutions for...
Because you code what you know.
Yeah.
But Lou, we are taught that culture eats strategy for breakfast, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Culture
Go
eats
business school.
Yeah.
Yes, go business.
culture eats strategy. You can have a great strategy, but the culture
Yes.
will eat it for
We'll
breakfast.
eat it for breakfast.
Right?
Yeah.
So is it a case of the clique's culture ate strategy for breakfast, lunch, and supper, and brunch in between? Because maybe how they have been... And when I saw that boardroom full of white people there running this campaign, I just figured the culture ate strategy for breakfast.
Yeah.
But is it a cliques culture or is it a South African culture?
To me, it's a South African corporate culture.
Yeah.
Because even the ad agencies, you find that a white ad agency will go into the township and derive research that is so off how we live and bring it back to client and say, this is... I still want to find out who did the Ellen Gray ad.
Ellen Gray, I think it's Marikim, Cape Town, man.
The guys that did the
King
ad-
James.
Yeah, King James, yes,
Yeah, King
King
James,
James.
yeah.
Where the father takes the money from the child. Those guys,
I
I
love it.
want to give them
I love
bloody
that ad.
standing
Yeah.
ovation.
Love
Because
that.
those guys went into detail to
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
the culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have never thought I'd ever invest with Ellen Gray.
Yeah.
After that ad, I'm like, these guys understand where we come from. Therefore, let me actually unpack what they do. Because they went the extra mile. And I remember, yes, it is King James. Because King James, I think they also did other brands.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
yeah, those guys went the extra mile. I remember I did it I was a guest speaker at the Gibbs Marketing Conference last year.
Yeah.
And I placed that ad. I was talking to ad executives.
Yeah.
So you guys are lazy. You take shortcuts. These guys took effort.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why it's important, and I think maybe we need to speak about why it's important. And when I was asking, is it really the organization, one organization culture? The issue here in this particular instance with this example, it's a value chain. The entire value chain failed us. It wasn't just a singular environment that failed us. So in this particular case, Clicks is a distributor.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so they failed.
Unilever.
They were the end product. They
Yeah.
were at the very last of the value chain.
Yeah.
Downstream in the value chain, the question should have been asked from the beginning. What message are we sending? There's another one actually from, and this is obviously then packaged, the actual product is a tresemme.
Yeah.
The tresemme one where they show, and I actually
didn't
don't
see
have that one,
Yeah.
where they show different kinds of hair. Again, they're speaking about curly hair. And then they represent a person of color with the
Yeah.
curly hair. And it actually says something about curly hair says you are this, but then at some point I think it says you are sexy, something like that. Again, two very different models. The curly hair is with the person of color. Now, and I think, you know, so for me, it's often about, for me, it's not a venting session.
Yeah.
I think there's a truth and there is an education that needs to happen.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
education do I
yeah.
want to happen in this particular case? The first one, it's that the burden of education to those that don't know does not lie with the oppressed. It shouldn't lie with the oppressed. The burden and the onus to be educated should lie with those that know that they don't know. And if you know that you didn't know and you have since learned, the burden is on you to educate your counterparts that also need to have the same learning. That's the first thing. If we get to the part where we ourselves take it on ourselves to educate
Yeah.
ourselves about what we don't know, it's the same conversation we were having last week about men and women and GBV and so forth. If
Yeah.
you feel that you are unaware of something or you lack the knowledge and the education,
Yeah.
go learn.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because then it
And
helps
the learning
us.
is so free these days. Pick up a newspaper. You know, if you've got a smartphone, I mean, we've got 22 million smartphone users. And we are saying that people aren't educated.
Yes.
Yes, we do know that there are certain dynamics of data access, you know, but it's just the will to want to learn, you know, and I think it's also something that we need to, also, I think also from a media perspective, you know, we need to take responsibility. You know, you speak about marketing agencies, you know, it's been a conversation now for over 10 years. The same principles about do not portray black people as not counterparts in this country, you know, because you are creating division. And we play a very big role in creating division, obviously for economic reasons, you know, but to what extent? When do we say that enough is enough?
Yeah.
You know, because of content that promotes violence, you know, and I think even Musa was talking about that. We generally, we're a very violent country. You know, you watch Western movies, it's country, it's guns, it's, you know, and we wonder why our youth wants to become thugs and, you know, criminals, and they never see value of life, you know, because of content has never taught them about the value of life, of money, of anything, you know. So those are some of the things that we have to interrogate deeply. And I'm at a point where I'm tired of the conversations. I think now it's time where action.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must happen.
So I think
But-
the second, okay, no, go ahead.
So
please.
my deliberation this week was, is this, and I mean, I give EFF for doing what they did, and it well. But my view was, is this a Clicks issue, or is this a broader South African issue?
It's a broader South African issue.
Should we be handling this thing from a national level, or is it just one store? Yes, they've taken off the products all over the show, but isn't this a national issue that we have? Because each time we're handling a different issue. I mean, the hair issue came years ago with the Pretoria girls, and
Yeah.
so it's coming back again. So it's not a organizational issue.
Yeah.
It's a country issue, and we keep on making it micro while it's macro.
Yeah.
And for that, I think we'll always keep on going back,
Absolutely.
and unless we nip the bud on macro level and cut it out there, we'll keep on playing it from a micro level, and it will come back again next time as something different.
Correct.
Isn't the problem, don't you think it started 1994, where we said just forget it? We've passed it. It's the Rainbow Nation. It then developed a culture where we spoke about the TRC, but there was never really any reconciliation that happened. A lot of people are still hurt about the actions of the system of apartheid. So I think because we have this culture of brushing things off, you know. And not one. After 2 weeks, we back what leaks up because it's going to be convenient for us, you know. So from a country perspective, I think there's obviously a lot of work that needs to be done. You know, I mean, you've worked in corporate for so many years, and you still struggle even till today to deal with corporate culture at that level, to change it, to shift it. So I then just wonder, is there going to come a time where, as African people, we understand that without each other, we can't move higher? Because we're quite divided. I mean, yes, we're all chasing, you know, particular needs of our own lifestyles, you know. You want a house, you want a car, you know, you want... And through that journey, the system is going to keep you so busy that it's going to be very difficult to lift as you rise.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that it's time that there is a model of black entrepreneurs coming together for a particular purpose of changing the economic situation in our country, especially for the township and the rural areas. You know, and that tax shop executive, I know, you know, after Corona, we've really seen the need, because the inequality gap has just like expanded, you know, at an alarming rate.
Yeah.
And if something is not done, because now we're going to be worried about clicks, but I'm like, I think, there's the clicks issue, then there's the, you know, the economy issue, there's the education issue. Where do we start? And I think that was my similar guy.
If I may, I think, I mean, I'm listening to you, and I'm the reflections I have. There was a show that the two of you did with another gentleman. I can't remember. I think it was Lamini.
Yes. Lamini.
And you guys were talking about, largely, it was about collaboration. And there was a point made around the fact that we are very impatient with each other as Africans when we collaborate. And it may have been Chaka who was talking about, if you call me today on some Lou, let's collaborate on this piece, and for some reason in that particular piece I cannot collaborate with you, I write you off and I disqualify you from any other engagement that I would like to have, because you could not come to the party in this particular one.
Yeah.
And I think it's important, number one, that we identify different expertise within each other. Because I'm very different to you, and I'm very different to Chaka. And together, and we would know this because we've obviously spoken about collaboration very largely amongst ourselves, is that the different skill sets that we carry can actually help the whole. But just because you are not at the space at that point in time to be able to be part of the whole does not mean that we need to disqualify you as part of the whole into the future. I think that's a first thing that we need to set the tone for.
Yeah.
The second thing is that you spoke about a 1994 view. I think largely the pre-1994 and the post-1994 realm, what it did is that it psychologically created a distrust between us.
Absolutely.
And that distrust was communicating to us that I cannot trust you. Either because I feel that you're more advantageous than I am, or you're more disadvantaged than I am. And in fact, and that's the issue, right? When you are more advantaged than I am, then I want to exploit you. But when you are more disadvantaged, then I refuse to invite you onto the table, because what is it that you're going to give me? But what we're not seeing innately is that inherently we each carry a skill set. And maybe it is about time that we actually unearth and examine that skill set within, and we go for different things. My pet peeve at the moment is the influencer culture. Now I've got no problem with influencers at all. In fact, they need to make their money, and they have found a niche. The culture of influencer that I have a problem with is that everybody thinks they can be that, and not everybody succeeds. But also that people are tapping into the wrong things to become this thing that they call the influencer. And that is not sustainable at large. There's also a narrative that's flowing around the fact that, why must I go to university? Why must I be educated? What is the point of that when I can actually hustle in the street? Whereas the 1994 culture was go to school, be this and be that. And what I'm worried about in the current instance, there's almost we negate now, we're actually trying to write off the education element. Instead of actually embracing the education element, including of the new content creation, the new dynamic of the world, and actually saying together as an integrated component, it gives me a better skill. And I'm worried about what we are saying to ourselves as Black people, even besides what the other people are saying to us or about us. It's the language we are speaking of ourselves, because that carries the self-image. And when you are communicating the incorrect thing to other people about yourself, we become surprised and angry. Rightfully so, but we are surprised and angry that they are communicating what we told them we're about. And that's the worry that I have, because the story, as it says, I told you my favorite poem, it's not even a poem, but when the lion does not know how to write, then the story is told by the writer.
Yep. Hunter again, no.
Sorry.
Motwarita.
I think remember previous shows, I told you the skill of white people is they have learned how Black people function.
They understand the concept.
They
of
have
research,
learned.
right?
They have learned.
Data collection.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then they build models out of it.
So we get offended.
Yeah.
That's why when Johan Rupert said, you guys want to pop bottles at Taboo, we took offense. But truth be told, come weekend time, we're popping bottles. They are there.
We need to reflect. We need to reflect on our own decision. And I think also at some point we will take accountability, but also I understand what's also happening psychologically.
Yes.
Is that we are still victims in our own minds. We've been victimized so much that only a few of us have gotten the access to be able to manage our own self-confidence. That's why right now we can go and because we have access to some environments. I'll make an example. Maybe let me make this.
Okay, please, because I refuse to believe that.
In the farms.
Yeah.
Right. If you sit with a farm worker who's never ever been able to argue with a fellow white counterpart, and then they see me as Tato arguing with someone that they refer to as Bas, right? And I say to them, it's very difficult for them to do it. Because psychologically they've been I love the word that trained helplessness.
Yes. Yeah. It's not trained, it's learned helplessness.
Yeah. So and that's why I then say that it's our responsibility.
Correct.
Those that have been given the platform to help, they can see themselves in the networks, in the environments that we've kind of like built around ourselves.
But
I want to hear your view though. Whenever we want to join, because it's only a few of us, and we want to even in corporate culture, there's only a few that have been given the seat at the table.
It's and that is very, for me, I'm actually passionate about.
Yeah.
Because as I told you before, I was the glorified only Black, first Black, and which is BS. In fact, it's just sick. In a country with so many Black people, you can't be the first Black and be proud to be the first Black. Do you understand? And that's something that I think me and Mzamo Masito connect about. It is sick to say I was the first Black something in a country where there's 80% of people are Black. And
a continent.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And the country, the white man has engraved in you that if you are the first Black or the only Black, you should be proud. If you're the first Black CEO of NASPAS, you should feel esteemed. That is bull. That is rubbish. And because of our insecureness or insecure self images, we embrace such. And that's why in my very esteemed business school, when they announced the interim dean, and I threw a massive objection at the first Black, I'm like, guys,
comrade, massive objection.
Guys, you can't did you guys say the first white when a white dean was being appointed, why must we embrace the first black? No.
I don't know. Can I just ask though? And I suppose maybe it's not a question. I just feel like, and I suppose it's for me, the first black, not necessarily that you should remain as the only black, right? And maybe that's the requirement. So let's celebrate the first black, because that in itself says we are taking a step in the right direction.
I'm going to remove my glasses.
Yes, please.
Because-
That's what conversational radio.
Because
TV.
now-
It's
Putting on the
nature
glass.
now.
Yeah. He's like,
No.
yeah, not about this.
No, because I don't see why the black must be such a prevalent issue. First black. No, but and let's use Gibbs as an example.
Yeah.
When Nicola was appointed,
Yes.
did you say the first white female?
I think she was the first female.
No, but they didn't say that.
They didn't say she was the first female.
They said Nicola Klein is now the new dean of Gibbs. Full stop. I was there.
Okay.
I was there.
He has receipts.
I was there. So now, when our interim goes in, the first black, why? Why was Nick not the first white male? Why was Nicola not the first white female? Why is Maurice become the first black? Because
Is it not because there are points that you are given for acknowledging that there's a black person that you just hired in your business?
No.
Because I agree we've got the triple BEE system, which has also been used by a lot of white corporate businesses to gain points. So for them, when we announce the first black, what it does psychologically is that it says that there's hope.
No, Tato.
Right?
It says, no, it doesn't say hope. It says we as blacks don't feel competent enough to do anything normally. So if it's the first black, it means it's good.
I see. I hear what
You know,
you're
No,
saying.
no,
it means it's good. As the first black.
I agree. Good. What I'm saying is that now if I'm a white corporate and I hire a black person
Yeah.
and I put them in management, for me, I gain points. So it's a business strategy, it's a business
Yes,
move.
for-
And for Ronez Bodak, I'm agreeing with the point that why do you also accept it? I wouldn't want to be named as the first
No,
black.
Tato, come back to me.
Yeah.
The first black is not a white person saying the first black dean of. No, it's us saying here as blacks, guys, here's the first black dean. Because we think he's not competent enough to be a dean.
Not necessarily, though.
I guarantee you.
I don't, and that's what I was saying earlier. For me, there's a hope and a motivation that we should not erase out of success, guys. I think for me, it's a, and perhaps it's me. Maybe we need to hear from everybody else. But when I watch a person of color,
Yes.
right, a black person doing well, the first thing that it tells me is that I am able, I am competent, and I can play into this game. Hold on.
No. I know. I'm not saying anything. I'm just.
And the reason why,
And I'm
and the
going to take
reason,
some comments from because we've got some comments
Yes.
coming in
Yeah,
from.
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that the message it sends to me, it's important that it actually tells me that everything else I was told of myself is a lie. It re-psychologizes me towards myself around being a black person that is able to play in the space. Case in point, let's look at our first South African black Miss Universe. What she did for me and the rest of the world, in actual fact, at the time that it happened, it actually said, we are qualified to play in these world stages and our qualifications should not be negated in whatever form. I understand. And before the both of you answer, because I'm looking at the both of you,
I want to object. I want to object. Because
Can I
no,
take these
no,
two
no,
comments?
no. Yes.
Can I take these two
Yes.
comments, right? So one from Nicole says, I beg to differ. That's
With
to
who?
you.
Yeah.
And then she said, exactly, it gives hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreeing to, nothing is more fulfilling than seeing one of your own succeeding. Right?
But
But
I want to actually object on all of them.
yeah.
Are you only seeing now when Kimang Miss Universe Zimang?
Zozi.
Zozi.
Yeah.
Are you only seeing now that you actually worth it when Zozi wins?
No.
No, guys,
No.
guys,
And that is the question.
No.
also.
That
is the
thing
question.
People like now, guys, we can. Are you only seeing now after 40 years of living that you can now? That is bull.
No.
This is my view. That shows your esteem is this much. I said to you, in 1990, in 2000, I was the first black in college.
Yeah.
First black.
Yeah.
Nobody said the year before that Bruce was
the first one.
No, guys, this is a white-haired boy. no, but why?
But there was no need.
Because
the introduction of
there was
color.
no need.
No, because
when you mention color by itself,
we
that
are now
for me creates division.
degrading the value to
We
say
are.
why? Let me show you. Let me show you. Frank Shapina, 95, stood there and said, "World Cup." John Smith went. When Sia Kolisi went, if you look at the video before Sia went to get the trophy, even he felt unworthy. At Rasi, let's go together and show unity. If you go back to 95, yes, Francia was alone and then with Mandela.
Yes.
To 2007, John Smith alone with Thabo Mbeki. But Sia had to beg good Rasi. He even asked other guys, Faf, let's go. Because the worthiness is so little. Because he can't go alone. Because he dagi.
But that's a different context altogether, guys. No. Let's not convolute the subjects here, guys. I think it's a very different topic altogether.
Okay.
There is the topic around. So, first of all, what does the first black dean of Gibbs actually mean? I suppose, and I'm sure there's millions that agree with you, and there's millions
Sia was the first
agree.
black captain.
Yes, but the example you're using is that he was the first black captain who had the imposter syndrome, and as a result, hold on.
You got 2 minutes to raise this point, and then we're gonna go into a break.
Who had the imposter syndrome, and as a result of the imposter syndrome, he felt that he needed to pull somebody else to go represent as a unity.
No,
the issue is not the fact that he was told that he was the first black anything. The issue is that. You understand what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Let's not convolute.
No, what I'm saying is, by virtue of him being the first black, he felt like an imposter. Because it was said from day one, first black captain, when Sia walked into, and Shem, Bev, Kaunda is gone. Kaunda would have said and told you, when Sia walked into Ellis Park, in the first game against France, and Sia said afterwards, I felt so heavy.
Yes.
I was carrying the whole country.
Yes.
Because first black.
Yes.
There he failed.
First black.
No. I agree with that.
First black.
There he failed.
That
But
I
then
agree.
it's a
I
different
agree
conversation.
with, but you see, you guys are representing a different
Let's
conversation.
bring it back.
I'm so sorry.
Wait. Okay,
Yes,
we gotta go to a break.
conversation.
We gotta go to a break. So I gotta take these 2 points here from says from a point of oppression, seeing success becomes a point of self-reflection and resetting your mind from oppression towards yes, I can. And then says black diamonds, right? Golden skirts. The first black celebration is how classism and better blacks
That is
are
very
not.
true.
Right? And then he's a dean. He just happens to be blacks. So which goes to the point that the moment there is a first black, and there's always going to be different viewpoints. That's what I love about this conversation because, one of the other can't be right, but the other matters. And we have to now say from a conscious level and a conscious African level, which one is right? Which is the right step for us to take? That's something that maybe we might just need to
and differentiate between the imposter syndrome, which is a real issue.
Okay.
Right, we're gonna play a song by Beat Sampras. They are a South African-based band from Cape Town. They also played as we opened the show, so enjoy the music. And we're gonna go to a break, and then when we come back, we'll invite Mr. Muso Matlala into studio. Khutlo baliti.
I've been at you for a minute. Man, I've been at you for a minute. Man, I've been at you for a minute. I've been at you for a minute, trying to get it, yeah. You see the fire and ambition. You see the fire and ambition, cause I'm about it, yeah. I gotta wet, I gotta drip it. I gotta wet, I gotta drip and ask about me, yeah. You see the way a nigga live it. I'm too fly and I'm too jiggy to be stressing, yeah. Man, I've been at you for a minute. I've been at here for a minute, tryna get it, yeah. Don't fuck with me, I'm in my zone. Don't hit my phone if you not talking about no money, yeah. I keep my business on the low. Niggas talking and they hating on the low, yeah. Girl, when I'm done, I gotta go. If I stay, you gon' be calling me your man, yeah. Don't tell nobody what you know. Like I said, I keep my business on the low, yeah. But I've been out here for a minute. I've been out here for a minute, tryna get it, yeah. You see the fire and ambition. You see the fire and ambition, cause I'm about it, yeah. I gotta wet, I gotta drip it. I gotta wet, I gotta drip it. Ask about me, yeah. You see the way a nigga live it. I'm so fly and I'm too jiggy to be stressing, yeah. Man, I've been out here for a minute. I've been out here for a minute, tryna get it, yeah. I hit the blunt and hit the road. Catch me sliding through the city with my bro, yeah. Forever sticking to the code. Fighting niggas over hoes, that's a no, yeah. Forever blowing big smoke. I put that reefer in the air and then I float, yeah. You make it rain, I make it snow. She saw my wrist and fell in love with all my gold, yeah. Man, I've been out here for a minute. I've been out here for a minute, tryna get it, yeah. You see the fire and ambition. You see the fire and ambition, cause I'm about it, yeah. I gotta wet, I gotta drip it. I gotta wet, I gotta drip it. Ask about me, yeah. You see the way a nigga live it. I'm so fly and I'm too jiggy to be stressing, yeah.
I hope you're in the same team as me for your sake.
Niggas talking that smack, boy.
Let me smoke my guy.
Get his ass, Dexter. Whoop his ass. He don't know you, boy.
You hear that, man? Them.
Niholi late, man.
I have not cooled down.
Yeah.
I'm still on medium temperature.
The problem is we like talking about blackness too much. Black people like talking way too much.
That's
the problem.
No, that's my issues. And we are also like, we feel so, okay, no, guys, let's be frank. We are not confident people. We just like to be pitied. And that's just BS.
No, but I don't fall in that. No, I don't want pity from anyone.
No, that's why I'm
You know, I don't want pity from anyone.
No, man.
I know who I am. I you know. And,
You can't say the first black judge in somewhere. Musumatla. No, chief. He's a judge. Full stop.
Yeah.
He's a judge, chief. He's
Because
judging.
The moment it's about color.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree with you because I was watching the show when someone said that no, it inspires confidence when you say first black or whatever. Like, no, you can still inspire confidence without citing first black.
Yeah, that's being me and say Timelo Chaka, judge forever.
Yeah, that inspires.
And then
that inspires
black kids are like,
confidence too.
I want to be like him. Now you're like the first black judge of
Yeah.
the Concord.
No, discuss as we go deeper. But the music video that we played was Fade. Do check him out. The boy, man, I don't know if you guys saw that video. That video, it's so South Africanly unique. You see music videos with people like on Bentleys. Whenever they've got their old tires, you know, and for me, that's where I'm saying that be proud of where you are from, be proud of what you have, and as you are building, don't fake it until you make it.
And don't be black.
Oh, just be a person. Just be a person. Just be a human being.
Yeah, why must I be black now?
Just be a human being.
Why must I be a black something? You know,
being black born a dog. It's a pigment. And you see, then you can start other conversations. Now when I'm black, I'm like I'm not black, I'm brown. Then you can argue other arguments. You know,
because black is becoming LinkedIn now. LinkedIn, first black. No, you've got a CV, guys. Now you're like black. Black is LinkedIn now.
We better get bro. But I want to say just to the listeners. So sorry, Muso, that you can send us voice notes on 065-215-2394. If you're on WhatsApp, 065-215-2394. What does it mean to be black? Right? Send a voice note. And that the Chakamona is here to contextualize the concept of what black means. And why is it that you consistently want to be recognized as being black and not human?
But before we carry on, I just want to say that I actually came into studio today to excuse myself, but I think this is actually good for me. My aunt passed away today, guys.
Oh, sorry.
She died of cancer.
Sorry, bro.
This was the aunt that my mom used to leave me with.
This is your other mom.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was, man, I'm not having a good time. I'm really not having a good time.
Yeah. No, death is heavy.
Yeah, but it is what it is. But let me stay in here. And, you know, I think this is good. Let's hang out.
Yeah. Welcome, Muso Matlala, boy from Mamelodi. As you know him, ke mfana ba laba hule mana liswi mpulu ko mamse. Ke bafana ba laba lore wa ntlhalwanya rona when we saw pools ne re bona mo top billing. But he was top billing. Like gore ke show hore SABC 3 ne bana hana hore dintlo tse re yang go tsone Camps Bay. Okay,
Mamelodi.
And then there's like Muso Matlala's crib.
You keep dragging me. This guy keeps dragging me.
When you talk about like, Joe, it's a good game.
This guy keeps dragging me. Like, he drags me for that all the time. Like, I don't know why. And they're not trying to fire Mojo.
No, but tell me, actually, Kotlunda is a pool.
Yeah.
Hey,
Pools.
This guy is pregnant. I will expose you. I will expose you.
It's fine. It's fine.
I will expose you. That's my next
with a pool cover, I'm sure.
Plenty pool covers.
You guys are going to make me leave the show for other reasons.
Okay. That's sorry.
That's sorry. You know, but I just want to say something quickly before we come back up. You know, Dooms, even after our last conversation when you were here, you know, just about how do we promote, you know, consumers, right? And educate them in a way that says that consume local. You know, consume local. So we started pushing that even now on the show, where we also now asking even South African artists to email us their music videos. You know, guys that have never gotten a show on on the big broadcasting channel, let's send it through. You know, let's push. So if ever you know any artists, please tell them to send us an email at zina@gatewaymediaza.com and give us all the information of your song, where you're from, you know, how long it took for you to shoot that video. Rihi, because you're about empowerment, you know. Yes, we might talk about people with 3 pools, fine. But it's okay. Rona re swima go tamong jo. Go le tamong rilo.
Ole fail boy.
Jadi soapy.
Ole fail.
Jadi soapy so man.
That's why you've got a strong immune system.
Yeah, no.
Didn't you just say you were the first black at some college?
No, you just said that was the problem.
No, that was the problem. But when I went home, I was swimming in a brown water. Something I don't know.
Rama Muso, we survived the crocodile.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you have so much land.
No,
Because you have land.
No, boss.
That's some land problems.
Tato, you are swimming,
Land problems.
goggling some dirty water.
Joe, that's why
Strong immune system.
probably that's why we survived Corona.
Yeah,
Because of
Corona and Paloni.
And the Muso was
Don't
Le
Paloni.
Yeah, Le Paloni.
Where now?
Let's toss
What college did you go to again? Like, that's an old boy. Do you know what we refer to them as? Old boys.
Yeah.
Whenever someone is referred to as an old boy, then you know what it is. It's some club. It's some privileged stuff.
Some very
No,
prestige.
that's why getting old boy or not. When school closed, we are kasi. How you old boy sente? How you old boy? We are old boy maplasi.
Can you take a scholarship? I want to know scholarship. I want to know
Never say the check.
Hello,
Check like and as in check let's say it cash.
Did you see they discontinuing checks now?
Yeah.
No,
I think
you're a
it's
banker.
Nah, no,
It's
it's
high
proper.
time.
The
Now,
phone
when you
numbers
check
are-
a
Yeah.
I got
You know,
email from
way over time.
my bank today, but yeah, dude. So yeah,
You don't only just have 3 pools, you've got a bank account.
everybody has a bank card, guys.
Everyone
Everyone has a bank card.
I don't
Why,
know.
yeah,
Careful, boy.
If you have a lawyer, you definitely have a bank card.
Accountant. He is an accountant.
Careful.
Muso, Maloba. When we were speaking about this, I was like, go ahead, no. That's the house they use. Henaba direct habatu.
Hey, right.
How got texting? No. When I double story, go turn right.
Swimming pool
And
there.
apparently in the triple story about
You guys are tiring.
You
You guys are tiring. I'm exhausted right now. I'm really exhausted.
But Muzo, what's your view on the clicks issue? I know.
So here's my thing, right? I heard Matulima Donzela, ne?
Yeah.
And I hope she's not watching because she's actually like an aunt of mine.
It's digital, like it's recorded.
So she mentioned that it's unconscious bias, whereas it's not intended. You know what I mean? And if you look at the English, it backs her. But here's my thing. My thing is this: is that look, you know, you are running a business in a country that is highly racial, so you ought to.
Yeah.
You
Correct.
ought to take measures to ensure that you navigate.
It's your responsibility.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we can't now say just because it's unconscious bias that we cannot hold them culpable or liable.
We must.
Because it is their duty to ensure, especially given the environment, it is their duty to ensure that they do not put out ads like that. But my personal view about this is that, look, man, I'm tired. I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of tweeting. I'm tired of all this nonsense. We need to do something.
There must be order in this.
We need to do something, and by doing something, we stop talking. Why legotlix? Leelangda, nalingda, esingting, go tat go dumelo, esingting go lu.
I was about boycott. Like proper when we boycott, and I get it.
We are highly dependent. So the thing about colonization and oppression is that they made you dependent on them, whether it's economically, buying power, psychologically, entertainment, everything. We are
But are we really dependent on them?
Aren't we though?
We
There's
are-
a friend of mine who actually said, okay, so please tell me.
Think township economy and tell me, are we really
Yeah,
dependent?
so let me make this as he says, so you're going to cancel this one, ne? Okay, so Panado from one source of Panado is out. Ne? So say, for instance, next week, their biggest competitor, Discam, does something similar, right? So we can sell to those guys, Okra Panado. I'm not saying that there aren't like the question was Okra Panado. And I think the important part is less about how we attack it, but it's the question which is an honest and open question around competitive advantage. Number one. Number two, it's about access and ease. So if it's going to take me an effort for me to leave my estate or my complex or my home, and I have to drive very far in order for me to reach the Panado, the easiest thing for me is that I actually just want to walk across and access that Panado. And I think accessibility and ease and convenience cannot be negated in the conversation around the products and the services that we are offering to each other. So when we have the conversation about economic emancipation and economic empowerment, we need to make sure that our reach extends to everywhere where the people are, that they can actually reach the services that we're talking about. And I think the problem that I have right now is that we are continuously talking about removing certain or removing an organization, and that conversation in itself is a very complex discussion. But let's say you do
because of the
remove
economical
it.
impact of it.
Not necessarily. I think it's a lot even bigger than that. But when you then remove that, even apart from the conversation of jobs, which is, I think that in itself just, it blurs the lines around what is important and what's not. What is your alternative?
It's there.
Ho na le pharmacy e nngwe ya bo Darky Valley, ho na le Black Watridgeville, ho na le pharmacies
Go
got chain. Yeah.
So naked was insurance.
So here's the thing, right?
Biko said, rather to live for an idea I'm willing to die for, than to live for to die for an idea that won't live on. We are so convenience based, like. And
that we inconvenience ourselves in the long term.
will not move any dial because it's about convenience. There's no Daiki I trust, or I don't trust any Daiki I do in the burbs because it's all about convenience. It's about them. It's about how I go to the I don't trust.
But this is why, guys. This is why you're missing the point in terms of consumer needs and consumer demands. So let's put aside our revolutionary hats just for a second.
We can't.
Here.
Wait, Lou, Shadi.
Wait, point of order.
I become a potato.
I'm chair. And then we'll go to Lou. And then from Lou, if you've got a point, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and then 2 minutes and 2 minutes.
No, mine is simple. The moment I kill my conscious self, and my revolutionary me, I don't exist. I can't look at life through the lens of an unrevolutionary individual. That's who I am. Those are my values.
What's the risk and what's the positive? If you then take that revolutionary individual and then follow into the system, what's the risk? And what's the positive of you staying revolutionary?
Truth is, the moment I take it out, I am compliant to what the system wants me to comply with.
Okay.
And that for me, it says I'm a sellout.
All right, Lou.
Because clearly, there's like, guys, can I just note, and I'm actually channeling this voice on purpose, that there's 3 gentlemen in here, so my voice has to be projected even louder just to be heard.
You see?
I reject it.
No.
Okay,
Order.
Back. Honorable, I withdraw.
Thank you.
Right. I think maybe how I said it earlier was in error. And so I would like to apologize if I said that, or if it sounded like I'm saying, do not be revolutionary. I'm all about this, and I've said this multiple times.
Yes.
The world is not binary. It's not an either or. I can be all together all at the same time. right? Which means that I can empower a black person and a black person can have convenience at the same time. Please, Yakuba. Can we not actually just have, and I am completely against the idea that when black people command and expect convenience and ease, that it's wrong. I'm completely against that. I'm actually saying, and that's what I'm saying, from a consumer perspective. So this whole idea with the clicks discussion is around client experience and marketing, right? It is around the element of trying to attract a target market to actually consume your goods in a particular way. There's obviously
non-African goods.
That's
It's
fine.
about also human behavior.
Yeah, well, there's a human behavior to it, and
Which
that's
is
what I'm
big.
saying. Yeah.
Which is big. Marketing is small.
Yes.
Human behavior is massive.
But
Yes.
marketing drives human behavior.
But marketing drives, content drives a lot.
It's my
driven.
turn.
If you
guys.
mess up human
But
behavior,
Order, my leader, order my leader. Yes,
Yes.
you've got 45 seconds. Then you
Okay.
then.
Five,
no, 5 seconds. She spoke for like 3 minutes.
No,
4,
I agree with
3,
you.
1.
Yes.
Done.
So, no,
This
but
guy.
you don't be
Okay,
distracted.
Fine. When you then speak about client experience, guys, you need to understand that the client experience you're creating, and he said it, but he's going against his own point. When you create a client experience, you're not creating your own client experience, you're creating a client experience for your target
For the
market,
consumer,
which
yeah.
is your consumer.
Yes.
So if I, as a consumer, am saying, I would like an alternative pharmacy, and I would like that pharmacy to have convenience, ease, and accessibility for me, and I also happen to live in a certain area, and therefore make sure that you can actually reach me and service me where I live. What is the problem with that?
So here's my thing, right? And there's these people who are crying about the EFF, but jobs, what. Here's the thing, right, guys? There will always be casualties in a revolution. So you can't have a revolution and expect to not have any casualties. There will always be casualties in a revolution. Imagine go apartheid, the supermarket. People are working there and we're against them. But why are you bombing? I need work. You know what I mean?
Today we are the beneficiaries.
And it sounds a bit insensitive. It sounds a bit insensitive to say this, but there will always be casualties in a revolution. You cannot make everybody happy in anything, especially in a revolution. And also, this whole thing, the other convenience thing, I see it as almost like especially the job and the convenience thing, I see it as almost like a blackmail.
Yeah.
No, like it's like we're being blackmailed.
For as long as you have convenience,
you know what I mean? Like,
change will never happen.
You know what I mean? Like, we have to almost tolerate this so that we can be convenient. Tolerate this so that we can have jobs. But we have to be decisive. We have to be decisive. You know what I mean? If we're going to change anything.
Because if we don't become decisive, it means that this is going to continue for as long as we live. Our kids, because that's what we want to teach our kids. Because our behavior also encourages our kids to say that with this convenience, why does it have to? Why do things have to change? Because if things change, that means we're an inconvenience.
We are held in bondage. No, it can't be
I did
English.
say that life does not have to, you as an individual, or even the solutions that we're creating do not have to be binary. That in itself means that it is possible for you to be a revolutionary and for you to actually provide a convenient service. That's exactly the message that I'm saying,
no,
guys.
it's not.
I'm trying to
It
understand.
can't be.
Why can't you?
It can't be.
Why
It can't
can't
be.
it be?
It can't
Colleagues,
be.
you
Because
got 1 minute to argue
convenience,
your point.
convenience and cushion
Your
is
power
together
hungry.
and comfort. There is nowhere in history where a person has come, changed, and reinvented a revolution, and they were just comfortable. There's no way. The moment you're seeking comfortable and comfort and revolution, it's never going to work. It will never work because comfort says you have sold out. Admit that you have sold out. You are comfortable in being covered and being molded. You either here or here. Comfort and sell out, the same thing. You have sold out.
I'll give an example, Lou. No? We, 2013, 16 of us, we faced with a situation where we're saying that there are challenges in the industry.
Yes.
Right? And these challenges
I
are
know
not changing.
activists.
You know? No. I mean, I'm not an
Activists
activist,
do it,
but I understand that if things don't change, they will remain the same. And it is
Yeah.
our responsibility once we have been given the access,
Yes.
right, to make sure now we don't get comfortable with it. Because the moment we get comfortable, then change will never happen. You know, it's like many a times where we say, you know, we've empowered the brothers, and then comrade about and relax.
No, but I agree. And I think here, guys, I really apologize because I think we need to have clarity around what we're talking about.
Yeah.
There are multiple subjects that we're talking about,
Yeah.
and we're almost speaking about them as the same thing.
Yeah.
There's the first part around the employment,
Yes.
right? And the fight around the fact that do not go against an organization, because when you're going against an organization, you are affecting the security of people's jobs, right? That's that first argument. And I'm in complete agreement where all of you are actually saying you do not save people's jobs at the expense of our dignity and pride as a people. You cannot do that because by doing that, that is wrong. You cannot have or there's a saying that says you can't be taller, you can't expect to remain tall when somebody's on their knees, because the minute they stand up, you're not tall, and that's a problem. And by doing, if you actually are trying to protect people's jobs at the expense of people's dignities, that's an issue. That's the one conversation we're having. And I'm in complete agreement that if you're going to create revolution around what you need to do in order to reshape the conversation around black people, you cannot do it at the convenience of not or affecting people's jobs. Tick. The second conversation, and this is what I was placing on the table, is around consumers. The end product reaching the person that is buying. Now, this is on the other side of the scale. So I'm not talking about the internal side of the scale, I'm talking on the other side of the scale. And I'm actually saying, as a community of black people, we need to understand that there are two fights we need to fight here. The first fight is, as I've indicated, is to create, maintain, and encourage and even elevate the dignity of black people as they are, and ensure that that is done without favor or even unequivocally apologetic. We're not going to apologize about who we are. But at the same time, we need to give people alternatives to these companies so that we can actually have a voice. The problem we are having is that we're having the one part of the conversation, we're not having the other part of the conversation, which is the consumer one. The consumer one is where I'm actually saying, guys, in order for us to actually take ownership of that space and own it and actually re-engage the narrative around black people is only if we are playing competitively in the space that everybody else is playing.
So here's maybe a question that I want to pose.
That sounds like an altered perspective, but anyway, it's fine.
No. I get it.
It's altered. It's two different.
No,
it's a different perspective. It's been altered.
No, for sure. But then my question then is Lou, yes, then I move to the suburbs, right? Tumelo opens up a pharmacy and says that I deliver. Now you would think, but for you to support Tumelo, it becomes also very imperative that you actually consciously make an effort as a fellow black African to find out, are there other individuals in this market that are black so that I can bring them closer?
Absolutely.
So, gardens and pools.
Oh my God. I'm being dragged. I'm catching stray bullets. I'm just sitting.
You know? I mean, you launched Sepa Salsa Sampe.
Yeah, Mbebo Soap.
Right? And where do you find it?
It's we did a pilot, whereas we obviously did market research, customer discovery, and then we got them into Pick and Pay stores in Durban because that's the largest community of
No. I'm getting to because you spoke about distribution, which is absolutely right.
No, but
right? You find where the masses can go because I also want to raise issue Chab.
Yeah.
Right. So
I'm still. So that's where it is, and we also on take a lot sharp. Yes, fine. No, but here's the thing. This is what we want to do, and this is what he's going to help us with.
Yes.
We actually wanted to be sold in like the townships, especially this thing of network marketing has this stigma to it. We want it to be sold by the ordinary person. It's at the Amarandis Plaza and stuff like that.
Create a value chain where people can become entrepreneurs.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, but we're still working around that.
Can I stand, please? Look up camera. That I am right there.
No, but what's that? I am right there.
Oh, you know what? My view is Muso has done a limited scope research. To have done Take a Lot, and all these other Pick and Pay is done a limited scope. We were here, sitting here, and we said 25% of South Africa's population lives on grants.
Correct.
They don't live on Take a Lot. They're not on cell phones. You know, they are probably on tailings or whatever.
That's more than 32 million people in the country.
Now, he did a scope of Centene and said, I'm going to now do Take a Lot.
Yes.
And now he's selling soap to Centene. And he says he wants Mpepo to go on network marketing Kokasi. No, he didn't do a comprehensive market research that says marketing, because there are how many sponsors are there? Kokasi.
You know, I actually want to say something, and he will probably know, because there's a particular company that had the very same model. He knows about it, right? So I do then wonder, is Tumelo right when he says that you already had the model?
So here's
tap into that very big township model that you are talking about, but you decided to go
because he's trained.
Wait.
To go elite.
I'm just asking. I'm not saying that's not I'm just interested to hear.
I want to dispel everything he just said.
He's going with his. I want to dispel colleagues.
Can I dispel it? And I guess
yeah. But he's going with his esteemed colleague.
No, I want to dispel everything you just said.
He's missing 500 billion. He's going to his esteemed colleagues, Pasente, where there's no man.
Is this your Louis Vuitton bag?
What mine?
I want he's a tricky attempt. Yeah. These guys are going to. Is this the reason why you say convenient? So let's not distract from the point.
No, so here's the thing, right?
Underhanded.
He is. No, don't worry. He owes us a lunch, fully paid for lunch, because that was very underhanded. That was very underhanded. And you know why? Because there's a painful experience also because of they stole a bag. So she's got trauma.
Go back to your floor.
No. So I'm not going to dispel what he said.
All right.
I'm going to dispel it in as far as I'm concerned. Right?
Okay.
Here's the thing. I'm just a shareholder there.
Really?
I'm a shareholder.
For the purpose of this conversation, please explain what a shareholder is.
A shareholder
and what the responsibility.
A shareholder is somebody who has proprietary interest in a company. Proprietary interest, right? Being shares, equity.
Right? All right, cool.
So I'm a shareholder in this company.
Please listen.
I was an investor in this company.
Okay,
right? That's how I got involved.
Why did you invest in this business?
Because I believed in it.
Does it sit on the board? Can I just?
No, I'm getting there, right? I'm getting there. So I recently decided to be on the board.
Oh, okay.
Recently. After our conversation with Ndate Chaka.
Yes, we need to determine, was it before or after?
What? No, it was before this conversation.
No, before the research.
No, before our first.
No, it had more to do with what I was seeing was going on, because what he's saying, I'm not dispelling what he's saying.
Before Take a Lot or after Take a Lot?
I'm dispelling my culpability. Yeah.
Was it before Take a Lot or after Take a Lot?
No, it was after.
Okay.
No, it was after. So because so na ke shareholder Joe. You know what I mean? I'm not driving the company.
You're not an activist.
I'm going to refer. I just want to know the right number of the Companies Act.
Yes.
That he knows it actually.
Exactly. That holds him accountable.
Yes.
And liable.
Yeah.
Therefore, whether he's a shareholder or he has got direct influence and
over the board,
in the country. Yes. So if the company takes a decision, if the company takes a decision and Musa was there and sat quietly and we sue, I'm interested.
I'm interested in Ndate Chaka, right? when you spoke earlier about the clicks issue, you said that when I looked at the management and the and the board, this thing was gonna go south.
Yeah.
Now you've had engagement with Mr. Matlala. Are you disappointed at the fact that he's a board member but he's not using his influence?
I'm not a board member.
No, I'm not disappointed. I'm just observing him washing his hands, because he's now put himself in a corner and saying, but I'm not there.
Yes, he has.
He took a decision to go elite.
No, can I
And there's also nothing wrong if you choose
and to be elitist.
When you spoke up,
And then
after Yana, we
and then
Mr. Chaka's
just
begging
like
me.
corporates
yes,
in Sentin, he went elite. Now elite that doesn't give him enough money. Like, well, I thought if I take it Kokasi, network marketing. No, which means he hasn't even given the thought. Yeah. It's therefore the close to his. Therefore, these blacks will just sell.
So he's accepting defeat.
No,
but he's saying that I will maybe explore now the option.
No.
Guys, I'm right here.
Tato. It's saying I've tried where I thought there was money. I failed. Now these blacks must buy this thing now.
Yes.
And that's how corporates do it. Corporates go. Banks go. Banks go. We've got zero account, whatever. Let's see if it works for the maids in Sentin. I spun. Kasi.
Let's go to the masses.
Yeah, let's go to the masses. Because it's meant for the maids.
There's also a particular broadcaster.
No.
No.
I need to do some PR.
We'll give you a chance.
I need to do some PR.
I need to give you an opportunity because I know you had wanted to speak.
Disappoints me about everything that's just happened now.
Yes.
I was less disappointed about him going to take a lot until I was educated, obviously. But I am now disappointed at the fact that he's abdicating his responsibility. He's doing exactly what we are here. What about the clicks? Because when it hit, they first started by saying that those that are responsible will take accountability, and it was at the lower end. And when the problem is exactly that, when there becomes a problem with the strategy that we've developed, the strategy we've all agreed that we're going to actually use in order for us to actually access whatever market we want to access, when that fails, it is not a collective failure as the unit of the decision making that we are. It is a singular or just a few that have no power to do anything. And even if, and this is the other thing, so somebody was saying, but the Clicks manager, marketing manager is black. And the question I need us to be very clear about is agency. What agency do those people have to make the decisions that are required in order for us to?
But who gives a sign off?
I agree, right?
Executives.
But the agency
doesn't make the final call.
Executives.
I agree, but
manager doesn't sign off. Executives.
No, I agree. But what I'm saying about agency, it's a fact that I'm asking the question, to what extent do I have the power to influence the decision that needs to be made and to change the executive signature versus differently? And that is not there. And that's what I'm arguing, to then say, I agree with you, the managers will develop the solutions, but the sign-off happens at a higher end. And therefore, when you take responsibility as an organization, do not abdicate it to the lower colleagues, abdicate it to the board and the shareholders who have the power to actually change the dynamic of the conversation and did not exercise that power.
So now, when that power itself is not exercised, then what happens? I mean, we always say, why do black people burn schools?
It works.
Right? Why do they burn buildings?
It works.
We say that they're uneducated because of sometimes it gets to a point where you're just like, Batwana language ba tlhalohanya nako tse ding ke ntwa. I mean, the Kwame Nkrumah, went into presidency go Ghana, went and made a statement in the UK saying that the only language that Mahua understand ke ntwa. And then a couple of months later there was a coup to remove him. Because of Mahua management, they felt this one is going to be a problem. Now, a lot of us are always living in these cocoons of fear. And that's why change never happens. And I think there has to come a time where people stand up and take some action. Because if you see, now we had King Zulu King. What's the young girl from Pretoria Girls?
Kiamor.
Yeah, and she took a stance. We were activists on Twitter. We spoke about it. There were panel discussions, and then after those panel discussions, that's it. nothing really ever happens. And that's why I'm hoping that at some point in time, our conversations will start to move towards action and no longer.
But I think something happened with the school thing, with the hair thing. They started abandoning the racist hair policies. But then, guys, wait. Let me do
but
something.
only one school, right?
No, many of them.
No.
Dreads and everything. But let me do some PR real quick.
PR himself
Wait,
then?
let me do some PR real
Sure.
quick. Let me tell you guys something. So, Mpepo, as much as it is openly available, right? We turn it into an oil, right? So we need a vast amount of Mpepo. There's literally only 3 Mpepo farms in the country, right? The Mpepo that you see on the road it grows wild, né? And that's how it's sold, whatever. So there is not enough supply of Mpepo to turn it into the oil that we need to provide a lot of volume.
Are you saying you need land for you to plant?
But that's what we're doing. So now when we're talking about developing, we are actually creating a market. I mean, an environment where people can start farming, enterprise development, where people can start farming Mpepo, and we buy it from them. And then
whose land are you using?
Believe it or not.
Just as a question.
Believe it or not. Listen to this. Believe it or not.
Land are you using?
Allow him.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Allow him
Majority of Mpepo, the 3 Mpepo farms that I told you about, most of the Mpepo goes, it goes to France. They sell it to France and it's used in fragrances. So that's why we didn't go mass market, because we do not have. Yes, we do not have the volume.
Can I have an ask
The
before
farming.
you ask that?
So
Are you willing?
yes,
Yes, waiting like a solution for wena. Dimana the answer for wena.
You don't have the answers, Tati.
Demand has nothing for you. No, I'm joking. So what I want to ask is, if you then, so I have a friend, they have very large land at her home on the way to KZN, but it's unutilized land.
How many hectares?
Right? I don't speak hectare land.
That's very important.
Yes,
This is
but
language.
it is-
Because
No, that's my language. We have plenty
live
hectares.
550
You don't over the square kilometers.
Wow. This is what
No,
happens.
it's
No,
an
I'm
important
asking
point that
them.
you are here for.
Yes.
Yes.
So with this land, she's obviously works in Joburg, lives in Joburg, does not know this land is unutilized. So I'm listening to you and you're saying we have a primary issue of creating and nurturing land for us to be able to actually grow this Mpepo. So maybe what you need to think about, or if you have thought about it, you can give me the answer, is how do you create opportunities for people like this, which is, there are a lot of people but because they don't know what to do with that land, nobody has actually gone in to look at the cultural elements of the soil and what it actually means. So to what extent can you actually help her to help you? Because then it becomes a symbiotic relationship that can actually create value for
Can
both
I
of you.
ask a question? As a landowner, one, it's your responsibility to check your land quality, soil, so that if Tumelo tomorrow comes and says that I'm looking for, if I can do crop, I can do marijuana, then it makes it easier so that you can raise your hand up. I always wonder, we don't know the value that we have, and the first asset that we have, lefatshe.
I agree.
You know, and that's where you can't build a building, you can't do anything without lefatshe.
But I'm asking you, and the reason why I'm actually raising it, I'm actually quite serious, because I'm listening to you, right? And Tato, you must remember that you have the privileged background of having grown up in a family that already has a farm and agricultural capability. And therefore, the learning that you've gotten has cultivated where you are. So even the answer you've given me is an answer that is privileged, because you're aware of what to do.
You'll be shocked.
As please. But when we had this conversation yesterday, I didn't even have the answer for the friend of mine. But another friend was like, how? You can even actually access a university of student and then they go to the lab, they can tell you how the soil is. Answers that I didn't know. So I'm actually genuinely asking around, if people find themselves in that position,
Yeah.
what must they do? Number one, to be able to actually say, I have something of value. Because for all you know, the soil and the land that they have is useless in any case. Maybe. So number one. Number two, it could be of value.
No, land is always
and
useful.
therefore
But what I want to appreciate though, Lou, is the fact that you saw an opportunity and you're already at least creating a connection. And I think this is the spirit that needs to continuously continue amongst us. Is that no, listen, if you've got a problem, I've got a friend. Maybe engage. So I think for me, I want to applaud that first step, and I'm hoping that Ntate Madlala will take that step and move.
And please,
Once I'm a
ground him-
director, I'm still just
ground
a
him,
shareholder.
educate him to stop looking elite.
elite.
Man,
Bring him to what matters. To not base of the pyramid,
Yeah.
but the main.
The bottom.
No, not
Oh, the main
no,
part
no.
of the pyramid.
Like
Okay.
we call it the base.
Yeah.
How can the base make you money? That's the main of the economy. But because Mlungu said the base of the pyramid,
We all went and said it's a fortune at the bottom of the pyramid.
guys, look at that pyramid. This
Small.
small part is now king or queen.
Yeah.
This big part is called the base of the pyramid, which makes you more money. 568 billion annual expenditure.
So because the conversation started, got issue at leaks. What are we saying? What are we saying? Where to from now? What's your next action, Ntate Madlala, as a shareholder who's now going to be on the board?
Nah, what's one? I never bought from Clicks anyway.
Okay.
So I'm like,
No. I'm asking. I get now. We've spoken about. You said okay. There's a challenge. There's an opportunity. You are now exploring the opportunity.
So here's the thing, man. I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of being angry. Like, I'm a very angry guy. Like, over this black stuff and race, I'm very angry. And I'm tired of it. Quite frankly, I'm tired of it.
Same here.
And now I'm just like, look, what are we going to do? And I've realized that we can talk about doing something, Marabara Chaga on his way home, Balomo Roma Daso. Say, couple of top safe, I go Clicks. When we agreed, you know what, we're not going to go to Clicks.
No matter
So I've told it.
manager going to because I'm shouter hard.
Yeah, why more that
You can't be revolutionary on your way home.
Why more that day? So what I've decided to do is, you know what, I am going to be in control of myself and my money, my decision, and my purchasing power. That's it. That's what I can do. And if ever I can maybe convince someone else to, also, assume the position I've taken, then so be it. But I've resolved that, you know what,
And
at the end of the
there's a
day,
comment here also for you,
it's up to me.
There's a comment here for you. That striped shirt man reminds me of jail.
Yeah, bad man.
Now I miss the girls. I want to be inspired with beauty. Bad man and
Bad man is
and the bad man says, "Get over the demand." All right, no, cool. And I think, Bona, you're absolutely right. I think even for me personally, I think I'm getting drained.
I'm
by
tired.
the conversations that
Exhausted.
we just don't become action people. And me, I get that action. Whether I fail,
Action
as long, man. Get action where, if we're saying that there's a collective idea that we've envisioned, we're putting time. I plug in, dog. And I know once people start dragging, I'm like, this is the problem for us as black people. Is that we're not conscious enough, and we're also not willing to risk our own comfort, right, for the long game. And Mahoa compromised a lot for them to also be with it.
Do you know what
They didn't start out living the way that Lebanese started somewhere. We might not be the generation that is going to actually be the beneficiaries of our actions and our contribution to equality and freedom.
Do you know what I'd do now if I had power, proper power? There,
I'd
kill everybody who's
power.
older than a year. I'd kill everybody who's older than a year. All of them, wipe them out, and let the babies grow up in a new unbiased.
When we start the show,
He's actually talking about Endgame.
My opinion.
Yeah.
He's actually talking about Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, so just have a
literally
new,
just
like a clean
recalibrate the world.
slate. Clean
Isimule
slate.
from Kontling.
Because that's how it's going to work, Joe. Like, you can't change a man. You're a woman who's grown. Like, you're wasting your time. And that's why last week I was speaking about how the school system has the power to change how people think, because that's where kids spend most of their time. So it's either you use the school system very constructively, like just reimagine it. We need to reimagine education. Like, I feel like we're slipping. And as far as education is concerned, we could do so much with schools. These kids are at school every day. Do you know what you could influence them to? You could. Today, you are a very successful black woman because of what? School. You know, Lena, because of what? School. Some people are dropouts, whatever, but school, like, we need to use what is available to us. And school, Joe. School, this whole idea that we have Nana school or Nana test, no, we need to think education and we need to reimagine it.
I think the fear factor in us as human beings, because of, you know, when you talk about that imposter syndrome, I think it embodies immoral, and I do wonder, you know, even though we say we are tired, how many of us are tired out of a whole 45 million black people? How many of us are tired? And you find that it's only probably 500,000.
3 out of 5, 3 out of 4.
You know, so I then wonder, will we ever see this change? Because of, I think a lot of us have been so consumed also, some of us even by corporate, you know, to a point that there's a thing of, if I leave corporate, what about? And it's a true fear, it's a true fear. You know, but is any revolution a comfortable mission?
No, it's not.
You know, is war ever comfortable?
It's not.
And I do wonder, when we said aluta continue, what did that mean? The struggle continues. And I think many of us have forgotten that, yes, we might have gotten freedom, but freedom to what exactly? Because if you don't have economic power, the conversation of freedom...
You know, she said, I must tell you a story. Maybe my story also will amplify that thing. If you clever city, I came from a cushy school, played cushy sports, life was good. I had no problem. I was in with the right crowds.
You were Musa Matlala,
but
from Go Free State.
Yeah, you know. And, you know, when you play rugby at Free State varsity, you're going to be within the right crowds.
Yeah.
But when I saw us being chased one night from the library, and when Peter and Johan saw that I was there, like, yes, sorry, man. I didn't see it was you, man. Sorry, Chaka. Yammer, man, yammer. Then, you know, it would. So clearly, if I was not in that crew, it was going to be a beat-up session, right? And it hit good. Okay, so the guys that I was working with got saved because they usually held up. Because I happened to be in the same crew as the white boys during the day, playing rugby and all these things, having gone to the same schools as them. Is this how things or how life should be? And then I took a different turn. I joined the SRC, and I remember being asked, Dumelo, you don't have to do this. You know, you come from a very good school. We know your headmaster. We know what you've done in your school. Why are you doing this? Why are you fighting this battle?
Blending in with the black
why are you fighting a battle for the black people while you could just, you know, move, man? You could just have an easy life. And I still think that in my varsity, people who were in the inner circle were passed jail because you are in the inner circle. But I chose a different route that got me kicked out. And they knew that in my third year, with just 3 months to go, doing year courses, and you get kicked out, and you're told you can write the exams though, but you're not gonna. Then you fail to you are screwed because you need money to still finish off. And I spent years. I got my undergrad certificate when I got my MBA certificate. I'd gotten my PBA, but 2014 I finished varsity undergrad 2004. 10 years later, I got my MBA certificate before I even saw my undergrad certificate. You know, and issues, I made a choice. I could have just cruised in and my nigga, my man, I'm gonna just blend in and be the guy, actually, and be there and cruise in. And life would have been cool, man. But I chose to choose a different route. That cost me to owe the varsity 80,000 rand with interest there about 20% each year, which again is extra burden. But I knew I cannot live this life like this. And that's why I said, a revolution is never easy, Chief. I took the long route. That was hard.
No, Dumza, I'll probably agree with you more, and I think one thing now I'm comfortable with is that you don't have to like me. I stick to my guns, and I've seen that it makes you unpopular in many circles because of you are talking to a very uncomfortable conversation of their own other insecurities or whatever it is. And I don't think it's also my position to judge. We all have different journeys to walk, and you walk them at different times. But I understand that me personally, if nothing gets done, if I don't do something, whether I can impact 10 people, that's fine. But at least now I get robal. I live to my purpose. So I think maybe we just need to continuously ask ourselves, what is up? Why are we here? And if you're comfortable just living the life that you live in now, run with it. And Rona now my industry day in day out because there has to be change, because it's sometimes so sad, man, the time in the but yet I'm treated with much more respect than him, and I must now keep talking about why I do it most too long as in a dressing room. Those basic, because then you are because I'm like, culturally this doesn't fit very well, and I'm quite okay with the fact no don't battle at down when maholo tshwantsa dule 12 hours most too long hey Mr. Molamu and you're just wondering, no man, this culture has to change. And I'm just saying I hope that there will come a time where we take the right step to make some changes. But before it's all Melu,
Look, I mean, I'm equally tired. I'm very exhausted in trying to explain myself to people who aren't interested in hearing who I am. I'm tired of having to reprogram my children differently every time they come back home from every environment that tells them that they're not enough, that they're not capable, that they're not beautiful, that they are not normal. I'd like to live in an environment that is normal. But the question is, how do I create that environment? The first thing for me, it's the conversation we were having around the fact that if we don't create economic power for ourselves, nobody's going to create it. Muso spoke about one solution, which is ingraining in our kids from a young age and as their school age going, some sense of dignity around who we are, but also economic emancipation in terms of how do they create income and how do they create wealth and how do they preserve that wealth moving forward. That's the one element. I think the part for me that is important, it's the fact that we can't unfortunately kill everybody and start nothing, right? So constructively, how do we reimagine the self-image of who we are? For me, the learnings that I've gained just by knowing you guys, and obviously, the audience don't know how deep this relationship goes. It's the Tumelo spoke about. He was saying to Muso, "You went the wrong way," and I suppose I'm a Muso in that sense. I would have gone Pick and Pay, Take a Lot, Checkers, ShopRite, and the reason is because I'm then saying I want distribution that is wide and has breadth and can actually enable me to reach a wider audience.
Because you've invested money, right?
Because I've invested money, right? And I want that money to actually turn an income and a revenue as quickly as possible. There's a 500 billion that Dumelo keeps talking to.
Opportunity,
Yes. For me, it's about how do we create a network and a value chain that accesses that 500 billion.
Yeah.
So the 500 billion, I think for me, the fortune at the bottom of the pyramid is probably at the bottom of the pyramid because there haven't been any stairways that have been created to climb down to be able to reach it. And so it looks so far down that we don't know how to reach it, right? If you think about how you created Gateway, you created accessibility. You moved a school literally into an environment that was accessible to the township child. If your school was sitting in Sandton, accessibility would have been a problem. And that's why I'm consistently coming back to this conversation around how do we create opportunities for ourselves and then ultimately then creating for the broader team that ensures that I'm able to reach you. So who in the value chain is the start and who is going to give off? Let's play a relay amongst ourselves as black people. Let's create collaborations that enables us to be able to then say, it starts with Tumelo because Tumelo understands, or let's just say it starts with Muso, because Muso understands the Sandton economy. He understands the strategizing of the boardroom in Sandton, and he can actually speak that language to open the doors around the sales and the network. Then let's speak to Lou, who probably is halfway before you get to Soshanguve, who's actually then saying, halfway here, I understand that you're not going to be able to pass this bridge. And the reason why you can't pass this bridge is because there's that door and that door and that door. Let me actually then help open this door so that you can move forward. Now, again, Muso made money in the boardroom. I'm making money by opening the doors, and ultimately we reach Chaka. Chaka then says, oh, you are here, great. I see it says, welcome to Soshanguve, good for you. Now, let me help you to be able to reach the right people. So that when you are actually
network value chain.
Correct.
Yes,
and
yes.
if we don't create that network value chain amongst ourselves, guys, unfortunately, we're going to have these dialogues for kingdoms to come. It's not going to change. And the reason it doesn't change, it's because we are still holding on and we are trying to battle to enter in an environment that other people have created for themselves.
Can I? Absolutely. I think we label it, it's really about creating that value chain. And when you invest in business, you invest and you want your return on investment. And yes, if Muso said that this is the market that I'm going to go for, these guys have a good distribution chain, I'm able to move my product quick. But I guess that's why these conversations are happening. I maybe want to ask, Jorge, could we set a task to say, next year this time, do you think we'll be having the same conversation? Because I want us to set a target.
I think between the four of us,
there must be a target set, because I think that's the other thing we've been doing on the show. Every leader that we call here, we say that we'll come back and have a conversation with you next year. Because if we don't set these timelines for ourselves, then there'll never be any accountability. There'll be no action taken. So, could I maybe get Tome from Gamo?
I think between the four of us, I mean, we could do anything we want, you know, and not to sound conceited. We are not the ones we should be worrying about. You guys are going to live here and continue your successful lives. You know what I mean? But I think if we're going to, set a target, we need to define what exactly it is we want to achieve after a year from now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Could we possibly not then ask and say, if after a year we come back and we actually say, as Lou, these are the number of opportunities I've created for myself, and these are the number of people who I've impacted with the opportunities. And maybe then, I've spoken about the value chain. Which part of the value chain am I willing to play at? Because I'm not going to be able to play in all parts of the value chain, but there certainly is a part in the value chain that I'm going to play at. So if I then choose a niche in the value chain and actually say, I want to play here in this value chain, these are the number of people that I would like to impact, and obviously then impact myself and change my life. Then I know that in a year's time, when we have this conversation, you're all asking me, okay, Lou, how many people? What does the value chain look like? Where in the value chain are you? And if I can't answer that, then it means we're all speaking into the air ultimately.
No, absolutely. Sena here says, until we build and support our own industries, no matter how inconvenient the beginning, we will always be subjected to offensive rhetoric and marketing narratives. And one of the quotes that I love, from TD Jakes, he says that it takes courage to be wise. It takes courage to be rich. So we need to build that courage within ourselves. And I think if we can build ourselves as the individual, we'll be able to do more impact. So next year, that's our task. Let's go build that, because you can't empower people when you yourself are not empowered. So that's also another conversation that we've made it wrong for black people to want to make money. Say no, make your money so that when you start to become philanthropic in your actions, you are empowered, because we are fighting a different system. That if you don't have economic power, Tate Shaka. Last words.
This time next year, My hope on people being conscious about change is nil. Because we are couch spectators and couch commentators, but we're not going to take any action. We'll wait for next clicks. We'll wait for next clothing store at
H&M.
H&M. We'll wait for the next ones, and we'll let politicians become relevant while we just become runners to just activate what they do. But in our own space, comfort is what will kill us. I always say that I hope my son in the schools that he is, and in the luxury and opulence that he lives in, he remembers that the core of him is he's proud to be black than anything else. The rest we'll deal with.
Dude, you know I'm a very cynical guy. I just think it's just this. Everything is just ridiculous. Like the fact that we have to be proud of being black and it's a chat. Do you understand how ridiculous that is? Like, no, it's we have to be proud of being black, but the fact that we have to be proud of being black is the problem in itself. You know, it's ridiculous. Those are my parting words.
That's his parting words, ladies and gentlemen. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We will see you next week, Friday, same time, same place. Thank you to Mr. Chaka. Thank you to Lucretia. Thank you, Mr. Musa Makala. Condolences, gentlemen.
R.I.P. to my aunt.
Yeah, no, R.I.P. And to you, have a safe weekend. Timing. Right, let's have a great weekend. Safe travels, guys.
Just a boy with a dream in my heart, just making my way to the start. I've got a smile and a song that I can sing. I've got a feeling that this could change everything. I will sing for you. Let me share this truth. I will give anything, and I will give everything to sing the songs for those who can go on. Both winning. It could happen to you, 'cause it happened to me. We all need reminding of who we can be. I will sing for you. Let me share this truth. I will give anything, I will give everything to sing these songs for those who can go on. Oh yeah, run away. And when you're burning bright and your dreams are in sight, it's then when you realize you are the future. And when you find what's true, you want it for others too. And you could be that thing that they believe in. So let us sing this tune. Let us share this truth. We will do anything, and we will do everything to sing the songs feel it. They will sing their songs for those who can't go on.